How's it going, everybody? Welcome back, LevelMDiecast. We do have another episode as we count down Matchbox Convention Week. Matchbox Convention Week 2024. Episode number 5. Yes, the fabled Ultra Heroes. I'm sure everybody's probably going to click off this video right now. But I think it's important to see a very, very low point in Matchbox's life. Matchbox was acquired by Mattel in around 97, and they quickly wanted to make them more of the kids' toy. Mattel did not want to pretty much accept the fact that there are actual real collectors of Matchbox out there, and so it kind of built up over a few years until we got to 2004, and they tried what they called Ultra Heroes. So this is the first one here. This is basically a whistle on wheels. Does say police on the side. Does have a little bit of a loop there on the top, so you can actually attach that to a lanyard should you want to do that. Did come with the gold lace wheels, the thicker sidewall on it. It's mostly plastic, so everything you see that's chrome is plastic. Does have blue for the general body, which is metal, and then of course a plastic base, which is pretty standard fare. There is the diesel there. There is the deals there. It's called the whistle car. China base on these because there was really nothing fancy about them. Squawky Talkie, this one is not as bad. I don't think this one turned out all that bad. It is just a walkie-talkie on wheels. A lot of this stuff is very interesting to think that it's supposed to be made into diecast, but this one looks okay. It does have a lot more metal in it. Does have kind of a weird colored green for the window, which is supposed to be the screen. Does say it's channel 9. It says HQ on it, which is average, I guess. That is the button right there you see on the side. It doesn't really do anything. It's just for the button. You can hold on to it. And then, of course, the microphone there on the top in chrome. This one also came with gold lace wheels with the thicker sidewall tires. Like I said, it's not an actual button. It doesn't click or nothing like that. And then there is the base deets right there. Squawky Talkie. Literally what it's called. All right, this one is the most ridiculous one ever. It's literally a badge with wheels, like an actual badge, like a first responder badge. This one happens to be for like a fire chief. It is in red, uses the ugly crown wheels. Not a fan of those wheels either. Gold chrome on these ones as well. So kind of an interesting mix. They were meant to be very flashy. There's a lot of chrome in these models as well, a lot of chrome pieces. Which is interesting because, of course, they say chrome is super expensive, but pretty straightforward. It's definitely a lot smaller than a real badge, and it's just called the badge car because, of course, you don't want to be too original. This one is tolerable for one reason. So this is a fire extinguisher. Kind of wish the fire extinguisher was facing the opposite direction, so at least you could act like it was a rocket or something. Nothing really fancy on the side, just says force. Nothing big deal on there. In chrome base, all the red you see is metal. It is a relatively heavier weight one. This one does come with chrome flower wheels, which are pretty ugly. But the one thing I do like about the fire extinguisher is you can actually stand it up. It's a little bit off the camera, but you can stand it up. And then it's basically an actual fire extinguisher. It looks kind of like a fire extinguisher just when it's standing there. It's a completely flat front. So it stands there and actually looks pretty decent, amazingly. And then there is your base deets right there. It just says fire extinguisher. They were also printing the man numbers on there, just like they do now. All right, the Flame Chopper has an action feature, although it's very limited. It's basically how to make an axe into a vehicle. So that's kind of what they did, which they did an okay job. I mean, they kind of made it look like a fire truck. Does use the same crown wheels, which are just pretty ugly. It says chopper on the side of the axe part. Axe part is 2 pieces, and then of course, like I said, it does have a moving feature which chops just like that. That's all it does. So it actually stays up pretty good though. It's super ugly model, but if you are a true completist collector for Matchbox, you gotta get everything. Flame Chopper. All right, next one up here, we have the Pound Hound, or the Lock... I forget what this one's called. It's basically supposed to be like a demolition / tow truck-ish thing. It's a dog, and it's got that spiked ball in the back. It doesn't move, doesn't do anything. It is fixed. Also has a chrome piece right there for the quote-unquote collar. You can see underneath the wheels there. Looks like he has little feet. It is extremely front heavy, so the face and stuff, that is all metal. There's a plastic base under there, but the model is very unbalanced because of it. Saw blade wheels on this, really nothing to it. It's pretty ugly. Again, we're talking Ultra Heroes. We're talking a very, very low point in Matchbox's life. Pound Hound. Pound Hound was the name of that guy. All right, Max Tractor. So apparently Max Tractor just needs himself a little hat, make himself real country, and then there is your tractor, which is just taking off on us. I think my rotator guy is a little bit off balance. I do apologize about that. But that is your Max Tractor. Nothing fancy with it. Just has a standard tow hitch on the back. This looks just like a tractor, which is nice. It just has a hat on the top, which not all that great. But it's definitely one of the more tolerable ones in the mix. Just says Max Tractor on the top. Got some wheat on there as well. Nothing particularly fancy. And then this is your base deets. Get that flipped around the right way. 653 is the man number for Max Tractor. All right, this one's absolutely terrible. So this is a Grasshopper, which is a helicopter. Hero City News, it says on the side. It does have opening blades on the top. They are a little bit shaped to look kind of like wings a little bit. But they do open up into normal helicopter style blades. And it does rotate. Pretty good. Nothing fancy with this one. Just has that ugly bug eye. Has some jets on the top. I get it. I get what they're trying to do. It's not good. I don't think this has an expandable piece. Oh, it does have an expandable piece in the back. There you go. I never knew that. I figured I would try, and there you go. It does have the expandable tail in the back with a little bit of a fan blade type of situation in there. Nothing particularly fancy with that guy. Base deets, not a whole lot to see for the base deets. It's called Dragonfly Helicopter. So it didn't actually get called... Actually, you know what? I wasn't thinking it was called Dragonfly Helicopter because the Grasshopper is the tow truck, so my apologies. That is actually a Dragonfly. So there you go. Learn something new with me every day. All right, this is your milk delivery truck. It's kind of a milk canister in the back, kind of an old school milk canister on a cow. So there tend to be mixing two different things with each model. So you have your milk container with where the milk comes from, which is of course the cow. This uses the flower wheels in gold chrome print. And then just has an orange base on it. It does have like some goggles on it. You know, you want to make your your cow look cool. You want to look cool. No moving features or anything on this guy. It does have a little bit of detail on the bottom. So I'm not sure if those are supposed to be kind of like rudders or udders-ish. Maybe something in the front here. I'm not exactly sure, but interesting nonetheless. So actually, you know what? What's the name of that guy? It's called the Milk Mover. Milk Mover. So, all right, this is your. I can't even begin to guess what they called these things, but this is basically like a bull, sort of, and it's a bulldozer, of course. It's all right, I guess. It's really hard for me to be objective here. Normally, I like weird stuff. Matchbox is kind of different because Matchbox has historically always been very realistic. Unfortunately, just not with these ones particularly. There is engine detail in there. Nothing moves on this. It's all fixed, so there's no moving features whatsoever. There is your plastic base. Super chrome. It just says Bulldozer 04. So they were skimping on that one. Just straight up Bulldozer 04. They didn't want to call it anything specific. This one's called QB Roller, and the only reason I know that is because this is one of the hardest ones to find of all of them. This was released on single card, but most likely, if you were to get this, you'd probably get it in the 20-pack because there was a number of other models that were only available in the 20-pack, so it was a little bit easier to acquire that way. But this was available on single card, so you do have your football, and then, of course, kind of a goalpost, I guess, in the front, a little bit. Uses saw blade wheels, says Hero City on the side. The brown part for the quote-unquote football does have some pretty good texture to it. and then just an orange base. But of course, the green body itself is supposed to mimic like turf, which is perfectly fine. China base on this guy. There is your deets. So QB roller. Really hard to see with that orange base. It's quite bright, to say the least. All right, Mixopotamus. This is a cement truck, which is a hippopotamus. It does have one moving feature, so the drum does roll, does have some print on there. Uses the crown wheels. It's gray. It's a relatively heavier weight one. All the gray you see is metal, so it's beefy. It's beefy, but it's pretty ugly. It does look like a hippopotamus, though. I will give them that. It does look like a hippopotamus, but it is not good. Definitely not good in my book. Mixopotamus. So 838. Was that 838? 638. Sorry about that. I was like, wow, we jumped ahead 200 man numbers. All right, Bass Bus. Clearly straightforward here. It is supposed to be a Bass, and it is a school bus as well. It does have some decent print on the side. It says Hero City School, uses the flower wheel, dark blue base. The little fin piece off the back there is plastic. Clearly they wouldn't make that in metal because that could be dangerous to kids. A little bit different decal on this side just because it has a door on it. And of course it does look like a bass in the front. Looks like a, pretty standard fish, I guess. Kind of an interesting look to it. There is the base deets right there. That one's a lot easier to read. I like how they try to give these things like they have an actual engine in them. They try to give them like drivetrain details. It's so ridiculous. This is the Mush Puppy. I actually think this one's actually kind of cool. It does have a tow hitch in the back, but it's actually supposed to be like the tail, but it's a tow hitch. Some skis in the front, and then of course tracks. Just has little wheels on the bottom though. I think this one looks kind of okay. It kind of works for me, I guess. I don't know why, it just does. A little bit of print in red on there for the nose, red windows there for the eyes, big ears on it. It's okay. It's okay. I don't know what it is about this particular one. It just kind of gets me a little bit. I think it looks okay. Not particularly tolerable, but just Mush Puppy on there, just the little wheels. So nothing particularly fancy there. I do like that one though. I don't know why. I just do. All right, Junior Bumper. This one's a bumper car. And apparently it's a junior bumper car. It's a younger bumper car. This guy does have the gold flower wheels on there. Blue base for blue and plastic base, I guess. The red that you see, that's all metal. He's got a nice backwards cap on there. It actually looks okay. It looks like a bumper car. This looks like it's more like Hot Wheels style of generic stuff. This doesn't quite fit in with the rest of Ultra Heroes, but I don't think this one's particularly bad just because it's got a little bit of that Hot Wheels flair to it. So there is your base deets again. Junior Bumper. Looks like this guy might have an electric motor in the front, so at least that's a little bit more realistic. All right, Go Rolla. I actually picked this up from the Gathering, I think last year, maybe the year before. This was carded. Everybody said, don't crack it, don't crack it. I cracked everything. I really wanted to complete this set and just be done with it. This one was pretty difficult to find. It was pretty pricey for a little while as well. It is a Gorilla that is a road roller. Again, not great, not particularly horrific though. Scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the crappiest, 10 being nice. It's probably like a 4. But it does roll, and it rolls very well. Nothing particularly fancy with it, just a pretty standard rolling machine there for construction work. Then there is your base deets. Good old Go Rolla. Well, it can't be done with police stuff. There's always got to be more police stuff. This is Cap and Cop. C-A-P-N-C-O-P. This one for Metro Police does use the crown wheel as well. Very crappy generic car with a police hat on the top, and it covers the windshield, so this guy can't see anything. Big circles on the front bumper for some reason. I'm not really sure what those are supposed to be for. And then they always have these little dots and stuff for headlights for all their generic stuff. I'm not really sure why they do that. It just does not look appealing or good at all. They called it the police hat, but I think it was actually called Cap and Cop. Actually, you know what? This was called the police hat because Cap and Cop was this guy. Pretty sure that's Cap and Cop. So this is the motorcycle. This uses a pretty big wheel in the back. It uses a proprietary wheel in the front. They didn't do a whole lot of motorcycle stuff at this time, so this was all new tooling, new pieces and stuff on there. All the silver you see is metal, and then the rest of it is all plastic, including the cap. A little bit of print on there, some chrome for the visors. Like I said, there's a lot of chrome in these. I wish we could get this much chrome nowadays, but apparently budgets didn't exist back in the day. It's not a good casting. Doesn't look all that great at all. Take a look at our base deets. There you go. Cap and cop right there. So at least I finally got one right. They come up with ridiculous names. All right, here is your grasshopper. Grasshopper tow truck, I think, is just literally what they called it. Uses the crown wheels. This does have a little bit of an action feature, not particularly much. Green on the side, just says hopper towing. Has an orange window on the inside. Not the greatest looking model whatsoever at all, but it's not horribly bad either. It looks like a tow truck, at least a little bit more than a grasshopper. And then it just goes up and down. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. The hook doesn't move or anything like that. It's just fixed. And then there is the deets. Just says grasshopper tow truck. So again, not going to get too crazy with these because frankly, they're kind of terrible castings, but I think it's important to showcase this during convention week. All right, this one is like a commando dude, and I don't remember what his name is, but I think this one's kind of cool. It's basically a soldier. He's got his headset on, and he's like the radar gunner. He's following the signals, doing his thing. Got the big bush guard on the front. He's got a visor on there as well. I think the little headset's kind of cool. Fits in relatively well. Uses the crown wheels, again, in gold camo details on there, just a little bit, not horrific, just a little bit. Looks good, looks realistic. Get the camo. The model's definitely not, but the camo looks pretty good. Just says mission on the back, just a generic mission. Looking at the base deets here, it is called the military helmet. So that's what they call it on the bottom, the military helmet. This one has a very, very generic base, nothing fancy with that one. All right, this is the snail transport, I think is what it's called. Just says S-Cargo because why not? Such a funny pun, right? Ha ha ha. S-Cargo on the side, Hero City delivery. Has some antenna in there. Looks just like a snail. Definitely looks like a snail, just with some wheels. I would prefer that they look not like what they're supposed to look like, a little bit less like what they look like. But again, like I said, these were all geared towards kids. Whether kids like them or not doesn't really matter because, you know, collectors are really the ones that move all the deets off the pegs anyway. So Snail Truck is the name of that guy. All right, getting down there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Hothead. This is a fire truck with a fire helmet on it. It is all in chrome. Looks... I think this fire truck would have looked okay if they'd have toned it down a little bit. It looks like something that would be a generic fire truck from Matchbox, especially during this era. Not that huge of a hose section on the back there. Sorry about that. Everything just wants to kind of take off. But as far as the front end details go, everything has this weird generic look to it. It says Hero City on there. Wish this would just cooperate with us a little bit. Apparently they just roll very, very well. You got to remember too, these models are very off balanced. There's big chunks of metal. Some areas don't have any metal at all. So they just kind of designed them and they said, whatever works, works. So looks like there's police on the bottom. It's kind of interesting. There is the deets right there. Hothead is the name. Again, even has an exhaust on there. I just think it's a little bit ridiculous to put that kind of detail on some of these models. All right, this is a Spider, but it's an ATV. It's okay, I guess. This looks like something that Hot Wheels would make for a character car. I'm not really sure, like, the reasoning behind this. It definitely looks more so like an ATV, like a customized ATV, which I do like that aspect of it. The purple is all metal. Everything else is plastic. In the purple, you can also see some web details. Uses that old school big off-road wheel. I don't mind that wheel. I think that wheel's okay. It doesn't fit everything, but I think it's okay. There's a little bit of print on the top for a like a fly, which is kind of caught in the web, I guess you can say. And then there is the deets on the bottom, which is chrome. It is called the Web Wheeler. So It's really hard. I'm actually kind of struggling with this video a little bit, I'll be honest with you. All right, this one is kind of like the Wall Eater that Hot Wheels did for 96 first editions, maybe 97 first editions. It's basically the same premise. It's a construction vehicle. The gray silver you see is actually metal. It's the whole base. And then everything else is plastic. It does have a moving feature to it, action feature. It is a helmet. So it's basically the worker is the plow, I guess you can say. It's okay. It's not bad. I'm a little biased towards construction stuff. I think I can be a little bit more flexible with stuff that's not very realistic. But as far as like the action feature, it does just pop out. There's 2 hinges to it. It just pops way out there. Doesn't do anything other than just move in and out. There's no scooping action or anything. So it's pretty much like battering ram or something like that. And it doesn't rotate. There's no 360 spin with that guy whatsoever. All right, there is no complete city without some type of trash vehicle. And of course, Litter Bug is the one that's going to pick up all the trash from the litter bugs. This one actually works. And this works because the 2 little fang things on the front, it's actually like a front load garbage truck with that. Even though it doesn't load on the top, it's only a rear loading. But it works. Like, it works. In my opinion, it works. It looks acceptable. It still looks like a bug, but you definitely know what it's doing. And that's really what I'm trying to say is, like, if you know what it's doing and you don't have to guess what the model's doing, then they've succeeded at least a little bit. Details on the side just has a bug just chilling there. It says to recycle. It's kind of a weird looking recycle logo, but there is the deets on it, just Litter Bug, of course, all plastic and stuff like that, so not particularly fancy. All right, this is the most ridiculous dump truck ever. It's like a rhinoceros dump truck with a giant horn on it. It does have an action feature. It does not work very well. It is a very, very large casting. It's pretty ugly too. So the gold chrome on the wheels is fantastic. It's really, really nice quality, but everything else about these models is just junk. As far as like just what they are. As far as the feature there, that's all it dumps. It doesn't actually dump. Like, you can't, it doesn't, like, you have to bend. There's a hinge in there. You bend it. That's as far as you get. So it doesn't even dump. So even if you put something in there as a kid, you could never dump that. I do like the fact that they put their little logo in the bed, though, just to let you know that it is a Matchbox. Flip that guy around the right way. Just says dump truck 2004. I think they got to the point where they couldn't even think of names for these things because they were just so ridiculously outlandish that I feel like they just gave up. All right, Jumbo Sweeper, another one that is very difficult to acquire. This was only available in a 20-pack. Try to get you to stay on there, please. This one's pretty decent. I think I like this one just because it was so hard to acquire. It took a lot of effort to get this one. It's a elephant that is a street sweeper, and it kind of makes sense with its trunk, but that's just kind of the way it works. There's a little bit of detail underneath there for the red base, and then orange interior, and then of course just the metal body. It's a relatively smaller casting. A couple of arrows on the side saying just go around. It kind of works. It's not particularly fancy, but it kind of works. Super small print in there, just says Jumbo Sweeper, but quite a bit of detail underneath there. Even the little back section here is like a brush, which, hey, you know what? I give them a B- for effort. All right, Lockbox. That is good old Lockbox. So this is meant to be an armored truck, of course, and it's a dog, but it's supposed to be like a guard dog. It does hold one single coin. I don't have any coins laying around, but it does hold one single coin in the top. You could probably get maybe 2 pennies in it, maybe 2 quarters, maybe. But that's kind of the premise of it. All that gold is metal, and then everything else you see is plastic. Uses the crown wheels, but it's relatively straightforward. I do like this one a lot, just because I think it just worked out relatively well. I don't know. It's weird for me that I actually like some of these because a lot of them are just really, really ugly. So there is your Lock Boxer. All right, very last 2. If you're still with me on this video, I appreciate you more than you could possibly imagine. This is the Husky Mobile, Snow Husky or something like that. This one was also only available in a 20 pack, the same 20 pack, late release as well. Kind of was curious if this one was even going to release, but it did. The deco is pretty much non-existent. It has a little bit of black print in there for a snout, for the nose, but the entire front clip there is chrome. I think they just did that to avoid doing any print on it. Just a yellow base, which is all metal, and then everything else is plastic. To me, it looks like an FEP model almost, or it looks like a first test shot type of model. It certainly does not look like a completed model that you would see released. It definitely looks like they put up a mock-up and they said, you know what, let's just send it out, and that's probably what happened. But it gives a little bit of charm to it. It's the Husky Patrol, good old Husky Patrol. So it's a little bit of charm. All right, I saved the best one for last, at least in my opinion. This is the one that is my favorite. I do actually like this one a lot. I am super biased, though. I love anything space and sci-fi and all that stuff. This is the Space Buggy. This one I was searching for long before I tried to complete all the Ultra Heroes. I wanted this one really bad. I found it twice in a dump bin. They were pretty beat up, and it was missing the satellite dish there in the front that is embedded in there, so it can be pulled out if this model's popped around and whatnot. This one's just cool. I just like it. It's a astronaut helmet on wheels. It just, for me, it just works. I just really like this one a lot. And I left it to the end so I can gush about it just a little bit. And all those people that have already said, screw this video, I'm out of here. They don't get to understand my appreciation for at least one of these models. So I am pretty appreciative of some of the stuff that was made for Hero Cities. This one definitely takes the cake. It is just Space Buggy. Super hard to read the plastic in yellow there. But there you go. That is episode number 5. You guys are seeing this on Thursday. I'm already at the gathering when you guys watch this. And episode 6 will probably be live from the gathering. We'll see how that goes. But anyways, we're going to roll out. Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. Convention week, here we come.